Planning Commission meeting this Tuesday, August 6th. We'll resume public comment with Lori Whitkin, followed by Lasona Hayes.
Madam Chair, real quick, I'd like to extend the meeting.
Oh, yes, thank you. Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion to extend the meeting beyond 10 p.m.
Lori Whitkin, I'm at 1008 North Lakeside. This is 8 blocks north of the Central Corridor that was the subject of the election on March 12th of this year, 2013, when the citizens decided the task order was 2012-30. Whether or not you accept that this election was legal or not, you now know the wishes of the people, and that is that we want a low-rise city. Whatever Tallahassee did or did not pass, they did not pass a law requiring high-rises in any particular city. You yourselves can design and improve better LDRs that reflect the will of the people, since you now know what the people do want. That would not be going against any ordinance or statute or whatever of Tallahassee's. And while I don't agree with the city attorney's opinion, I'm not going to get into that here. I don't feel that I'm a resident of just one neighborhood of this, but of the entire city. The Central Corridor area, I frequent it mostly on foot or bike several times a week. I use the banks there with their ample parking. I pass through on my way to downtown, to Snook Islands, Bryant Park, and the beach. We're a city of mostly one-story houses. This is the charm of our city. Small houses on rather big-sized lots, much different than the rest of the county. Increased height density will destroy the charm of our beachfront city. And so I ask that you not approve these LDRs as they are, and please represent the citizens that elected you. Thank you.
Thank you. Lasona Hayes? Do you want to come up, or do you want me to read? Okay.
I'm really sure my children will cooperate on that. Lasona Hayes, 711, 713, and 715 South Pine Street. I've been doing this for about 8.5 years. At this point, it's absolutely ludicrous and ridiculous. We could spend the rest of our lives throwing this political football around that costs the taxpayers of this city astronomical amounts of money. And quite frankly, I've wasted the last 8.5 years of my life and my children's lives with people wasting their time writing garbage on blogs about people that they've never even spoken to in their entire lives, and taking the time to endanger small children's lives by the garbage they've written on their blogs. All of this is a waste of time. Everybody's arguing about 20 feet in height. Back in 2009, they reduced the heights for the entire city of Lake Worth. They were all mad at me because I filed a motion to intervene on a case to stop height reductions. Everybody keeps talking about what everybody in the city wants. Well, I happen to live here. Guess what? I want heights. I want the city to move forward. I want to see it grow. I want to see you people stop spending millions and millions of dollars on stuff that doesn't really matter. That money could have been spent to put water parks in our city, educate our children, and make this place grow and become a better place. At this point, I'm only here to argue my neighborhood of Pinecrest. I don't agree with the LDRs as they're written there. It was intended for our neighborhood to be grandfathered in, to be grandfathered in to lot requirements for that neighborhood. A bunch of people came over and decided to talk about a neighborhood that I lived in, that I own that property in. They don't live there. They didn't go through any of the stuff we had to go through. They didn't have 14 gangs on their street. They didn't have to fight for 8.5 years to keep from losing everything they worked for 30 years. Stop being so selfish and worrying about what you want, and take the time to think about what other people have worked their entire lives to have. Thank you. Have a good day.
Tracy Sawyer, followed by Dean Sherwin.
Hi. I'm really here to speak about how all of this affects Pinecrest. In Pinecrest area and neighborhood, we want the highest and best land use for our property there. We don't agree with the LDRs that maintain non-conformity. We want, if we allow this to go through, it will create more and future non-conformity to the restrictions. This creates a severe depreciation in the land volume of the Pinecrest area. I speak to everyone as the vice president of the new neighborhood association for the Pinecrest area that is on file with the state of Florida. Lakeview Heights, Pinecrest area is what I'm talking about. We really would like and want the LDRs to speak to us having our land put back to the original platted lot square foot on record as intended and grandfathered in prior to 1978. Guys, I tell you, if you don't step up and do the right thing and allow the city to grow, everybody loses across the board. The city will end up going bankrupt, and the gains will come back. There'll be loss of control of your city. Nobody will win. I think you really need to think about it. It needs to grow, but it needs to grow in the right way. You don't need to take away from people who, again, has worked their whole lives to try to have an investment here, to try to make a home for themselves. After all, that is what Lake Worth was about when I moved here a couple of years ago. Was that beautiful home that you could grow, but yet still nurture your investment. If you don't go in and make the proper changes, then everybody loses. We're talking about Pinecrest today. What will it be tomorrow?
Thank you. Teresa Miller, oh, I'm sorry, Dean Sherwin. Dean Sherwin's gone. Teresa Miller. Thank you for reading my comment. Unfortunately, I'm unable to read it myself, but I'm watching on the computer. Thank you. Thank you for dealing with the unpleasant realities that we're facing, Lake Worth. After years, Lake Worth faced the consequences of their actions, and Greater Bay is settled. After 8 years, untold dollars and hours, the LDRs are a vote away. Thank you again for stopping Lake Worth's race to the bottom. Thank you for voting yes. Marty Wellfeld?
All right, I'll do it.
Okay.
Marty Wellfeld, North Lakeside Drive. Basically, I'm up here not to present myself as Atticus Finch like some of the would-be attorneys here. I just want to say thank you for defeating the misguided attempts to block Publix, PBSO, Palm Beach Fire Rescue, for dealing with the debacle of Greater Bay, and I hope that you put this issue before you to bed. You should know, however, that this is probably going to be a zombie issue. It just will not die. You will be blamed undoubtedly for not being able to overturn state law and the sun rising in the east and probably the next failed strawberry crop. Thank you.
Phil Spinelli. The City and Planning and Zoning Board has worked on this long enough. I am in favor of adoption. Barbara Jean Weber, followed by Annie Bussinger.
Hi, I'm more composed. I'm more composed. I do believe that in the same way the residents are asking the commission for something, that the residents also need to respect the commission. And I know I'll be laughed at, I don't care, but I appreciate the mayor trying to explain in between the comments, trying to bring clarity to the situation. Mayor, you very respectfully asked us if we choose to have you do anything illegal, to tell you. I do not choose for you to do anything illegal. I'm not so sure that Tallahassee knew that we even had an election in March. Close enough to bring all of this into your arms. And I'm asking, not for you to do anything illegal, but to write to the governor and ask the question, what am I supposed to do about my people's vote? It would eliminate the onus being on you, and I can tell by your faces You're all touched in some way by what you've heard here. You are between a rock and a hard place, underpaid, too much time spent here, too much garbage cleaned up from all these people here, and now this one laid in your lap as well. But you can ask the governor, what do I do with my people? This is my city, my municipality. And then you have another choice after that. As Mrs. Mahoney said, there is a spirit of the people that have come here. You can make a decision there also. But the most important thing is the vote.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Happy with the picture here, and we're blessed. Thank you.
Annie Bussinger?
Hi, my name is Annie Bussinger. I live at 1809 North Lakeside Drive. The Florida Constitution begins this way. All political power is inherent in the people. In the people means voters, and our expensive special election results should mean something. I'm a homeowner in Lake Worth for over 17 years, and I don't want to flinch when someone asks me where I live. If this commission goes through with their plans on throwing out our March election, then I will flinch. As someone who commutes by bicycle, more traffic will force me off my bike. I find it very unsafe to ride my bike in downtown West Palm. I was just there last week. Let's not be like West Palm.
Mouse Osier, followed by Tammy Panza.
Mouse Osier, 316 4th Avenue North. I just had a nice little talk with the city attorney. There's a few things you can get around with this. I work at Disney, Ready Creek Improvement District. We have our own government system. We started the Epcot Code Book back in 1974. It started this whole thing for the state of Florida. If you look at the book, it states everything he has depicted with the government system. But there is ways of getting around it with height requirements, expansion, hotels, motels, homes, and land management. Disney's done everything to this, and he can state the whole thing as well. Chapter 298 and the Land Management Program. And this is in 1974 under the Epcot Code Book. The one thing with that program is that you can go down. If you go to West Palm Beach, you have the federal building, you have the commissioner's building, you have the tax collection building that goes down 2 floors underneath that people don't even realize it exists, but it does. So the height requirements can go down instead of going up. You can expand. There is other things around this. We also have parking garages that are designed to where it looks like buildings. We have that in West Palm Beach. We have that in Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Orlando. So just take a look. He is telling the truth.
Tammy Panza, followed by Loretta Sharp.
Hi there, my name is Tammy. I live in the district that you guys are mentioning. I also like the small town feel. I am really tired. Tired of the arguments, tired of the continual lack of progress. And I think this town is a great place. There's a lot of great people here. And if you guys just stop bickering and come together, get in the sandbox, work something out, we could move forward and have maybe one hotel downtown that's reasonable. We could have one parking structure that could put the cars in there. We could attach our downtown to the beach in a walkable fashion. We can do this, maybe keep the Gulf Stream if we can work it out. But we're not doing anything right now but wasting our time butting heads. So everybody here, people who are for, against, should just stop fighting. It's time to move forward. You don't want to be your lake worthless. We are worth something here. Everybody here lives here for a reason. The misfits, the people who want green sustainability, the people who want quaint Key West houses, the people who like the 5-minute ride to the airport, the 2-minute bike ride to the beach. But if we don't do something, we're gonna be bankrupt. So stop your bickering, grow up, and just fix it. Thank you.
Loretta Sharp?
Loretta Sharp, 1311 South Conway. I'm with Tammy. I'm tired. I'm tired after 26 years. I'm tired.
If you'll direct to me.
From those two pictures up there, to the bottom line there, every single mayor, every single commissioner have been involved in planning for the LDRs and the comp plan. Rodney Romano appointed a master planning committee. Most of the people in this room was on it. There were 375 people that took part in the master planning process. We have put this off and put this off and put this off for forever. And I'm with Tammy, I'm tired of it. You've got the LDRs, pass the LDRs, and let the courts handle the height. I understand there's been something filed with the courts, then let them handle the height, and you pass the LDRs. Thank you.
Have any other questions? Thank you. Commissioner comments? Commissioner McCoy?
I think we've heard very clearly from the community a number of different ways. I think there is a lot of agreement in the community that there are parts of the community that need some attention, that need work. There's a need for more money in the community. We can see from having heard that the Juice Board, that Vero Beach struggles with some of the same things, and I'm sure many other places. There's been a hypothesis put forth that if we just go up in heights and put in a whole hotel district, money will flow into the city and we'll be able to apply it to those areas that need it, and we'll all be wealthier and we will, quote unquote, move forward. I haven't seen a whole lot of serious study and analysis that demonstrates that that hypothesis is in fact true. It might be true, but I haven't seen any studies to show it. And I certainly haven't seen anything like a groundswell of requesting, wow, let's get some hotels, you know, let's have a hotel district. I have not seen that, and that concerns me. What I've heard along the way is that, and I think, Mayor, you helped clarify some things by asking people, do you want me to do something illegal? But I think that was not the right question. Of course, nobody wants you to do something illegal. Nobody wants any of us to do anything illegal. That's not the issue. They want us to use our imaginations and listen to them. So I'm going, and I think it's been suggested a number of different times that it's possible to find other ways that would be legal for us as a commission to hear what's been asked for in the community and find a way through charrettes, through workshops, through whatever, there are various mechanisms, to ensure that we in fact keep a low-rise downtown. And so what I'm asking all of my colleagues right now, my fellow commissioners, is will they commit to finding a way, each of you individually, to take the will of the people that was expressed. Don't violate the state law, don't do any of those silly things, there's no need to do that. Find a different way. Each of you individually, who will commit to finding ways through charrettes, workshops, whatever it takes, to translate that will into comprehensive plans that express that.
Who's on deck to commit to doing that?
First question I have for you is.
I am.
In reference to, there's no information on hotels. The CBB would beg to differ in the fact they have lots of information on the benefits of hotel districts in a community. And it's never been said, you know, if you allow it, they will come. We've had 65 and 100 foot in our charter forever.
1994.
And nobody, at 1994, and nobody has built anything or restored the Gulf Stream or done anything of that matter. So change, I mean, there's no pending projects. There has only been one project in the last 2.5 years developed in the city to the point where the tax collector said, "Are you sure, William? Did you mistakenly not tell us information?" Nothing. It's not, there's no pending projects, there's no developers, there's no anything. All it is about creating something that could be developed. A hotel may come and say 4 stories is okay. They have a business model that works with that. It's not saying that you're mandating that something happens. I don't know where that perception ever came. And I'm actually glad you said what you said, because that was the one thing I didn't hear from anybody all night is can we have a further discussion about this after this? Nobody said that. Everyone would just rather yell and accuse and scream and stomp their heels and do whatever. But anyone ever say, let's have a conversation, can anything be done? The city manager did last time when we had the first reading. City manager mentioned the amount of time, right? You and William said the amount of time it would take to have another discussion, to have those public forums, and the result was what?
About 18 months.
About 18 months to delay the LDRs at this point, to start all over and have a conversation. Is it possible to put a blue ribbon panel together to discuss building heights and future actions towards it?
That's not my question.
Well,
My question
I'm
is,
asking you that, no, I'm addressing to you, is to say, are you committed to having another discussion about something? There are ways to have a discussion, but what we're being asked here today, and what the attorney has said to us, is that we cannot violate what the state has mandated. That was what was decided here tonight. It was not whether or not we can continue the discussion to go through it. Are you willing to wait another, again, in 2.5 years, we've had no development, none in this city whatsoever. Are you willing to wait another 1.5 years?
Mayor, you're not listening to what people said
No,
all
I'm
evening.
asking
I'm
you a
asking
question.
for a commitment from each of us individually that we will find ways as a commission that are legal to make sure that the sense, the intent of what that vote took place, that we will find ways to incorporate that into our regulations, whether they're LDRs or zoning maps or whatever it is, but get that intent in there. It was very clear. People want a low-rise city. Are we willing to commit to finding a way to do that individually?
Vice Mayor?
Ma'am?
I'm sorry, I thought you were registering it.
I'm just registering.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think we are a low-rise city by all definitions, considering the proportion amount of buildings that are out there. Everybody knows this is my profession. That's my background. And I've been doing it for 35 years, so I kind of have a little bit of experience. And you've got a lot of smart people all around that look at urban fabric of different types. What we are truly lacking is a place for people to come and enjoy the city on a temporary basis to like the things and love the things that we all do right now. And possibly come here and fix up some of these houses that have been neglected. They have to have an opportunity to come here and see what's the potential of these things. They can't do that if there's not a place to stay. If they come to an event, they need to stay around and walk back to the hotel, not drive away and pack in. There's reasons why those parking issues occur for some of these events. So a hotel area, it doesn't mean that there's going to be a concrete wall up there and it's going to block the winds from the beach and you're not going to be able to see anything. It's a very small, little tiny area. It's about not even 2% of the city is affected from what we're talking about. The whole area that we're, I think, in discussion to find a way, there's plenty of time. LDRs are something that is always adjustable, and they can have very focused attention to specific parts of those ordinances. We do it a lot of times in a lot of different projects and over many different cities, so they're always up for adjustment over time and looking at it. So they can have specific things that get addressed. So, yes, I mean, I'm up for any of that as well, because I really don't know how that was packaged in the first place. And, you know, I only heard about, oh, I'm confused. I'm not confused. What was confused is the way that this was presented. I went to every single voting precinct that day. Every single one, more than once. And I can tell you, most of the people I talked to were confused. They didn't understand that it was voting about things in their neighborhood that wasn't right there next to it, that they were 10 blocks away, 6, 7 blocks away. And yes, they were told, I don't want to have big buildings where I live. Well, these zoning ordinances right now will make sure that that doesn't happen. But if you leave it in the charter, that's not a way that it can be handled any longer by the way the state. There are ways to do this, and I think our LDRs right now satisfy much of it. Sure, we're tired of arguing about 2 little areas in here. Maybe 35 feet would be more appropriate. I think we're singling out an area west of town that doesn't want to be the same potential vibrancy as the other part of the city. Maybe that's appropriate, terracing down a little bit. But a small little area that is east of Federal that wants to have a few other buildings, probably not even a few. Who knows? We're lucky to get 1. All right? And all of this for that? That just boggles my mind to see all of this energy when we need everybody's energy to be put in a positive motion, positive format here. I am for these LDRs that have been sitting there festering and having all kinds of issues for a long time. And there's still plenty of time to make some adjustments over time. But we shouldn't freeze this city any longer. Okay? You know, no motion is going backwards. So I think I'm with you, Commissioner McFoy. We can still look at these things, but tonight it needs to happen, and we need to look at this city and say we're stepping ahead. Most of the zoning reduces dramatically the footprint, the density of what we currently have in our LDRs at this moment, by a lot. The floor area ratios, all those things, you would be surprised. So I think it's a major reduction. William could go over it again, maybe we still will, but I'm for these there. And I think it's a good move and a lot of people's efforts that should come to fruition.
Commissioner Rosso? Vice Mayor?
He's done.
Do I ask for a roll call vote, please?
Got a motion on the floor and a second?
Hold on, before you actually vote though, I had some information I gave out that we need to clarify between the first and second readings. I gave out 2 sheets that are referenced to Article 3.
Article 3? He's in it, but it never seems to work with your voice.